Hi guys, Grace here. Welcome back to my channel. Sorry that I kind of took a break in between, but a lot of things happened. Namely, I was supposed to film this a few weeks ago, but I kept putting it off for one reason or another. I don't know why. I've had this planned for absolutely ages because I wanted to get this just right for some reason. I have this big list of books that I do want to talk about on this channel, and I finally came up with one that appeased both sides of the pond, and you will understand what I'm talking about when I start talking about it. So currently in the US it is Black History Month. Our Black History Month is different. I think ours is later on in the year because I remember us having it quite recently in my timeline, but in England it is LGBT History Month, and I found a book that I have read that can appease both sides of that thing, and I'm trying to do things that are related to things just so I can keep them in my head. So this book that I'm going to be talking about, I really hope it shows up on the camera, is called, if I can get it out the ring light, hang on, Lies We Tell Ourselves by Robin Talley. And it appeases both sides of the story because it is about, the main plot of the story is about, it's set in the 1950s in one of the southern parts of America, one of the places where there was still a lot of racism and segregation and all of those words that people don't like to talk about, especially in this country. And I'm wearing this stupid necktie thing that has rainbows on it because it's LGBT History Month, whatever. I got it free when I did Godspell. I kind of stole it, but it was a prop and there were thousands of them, so I was like, I just wanted a souvenir. So I've got this, and it is about two girls. Oh my gosh, one of them, I can't remember the other one's name now. What is wrong with me? Oh my gosh. I remembered one of their names and not the other. I'm so bad at this. God. Sarah and Linda. There we go. Okay, so it follows these two girls, Sarah Dunbar and Linda Hairston, in the 1950s. I think it said 56 on there, but I'm not going, but don't take my word for that. And it is the story of first story is that a school is being integrated with another school. So a black school is being integrated with a white school, and it's not just like predominantly as in like there's a white school and there is a black school, and the black school, a few of the kids are being integrated due to Congress begging and begging and begging for integration so that the kids can get better education, better supplies, and have a better chance at starting life in a productive and proper way that everyone else has, which is fair. Linda is from the school, from the black school, and no, I've already messed up. I'm sorry, these names aren't normal teenage names for me, so I'm trying to keep them in my head. Sarah Dunbar is the girl from the school that is being integrated into the school, and Linda is a girl that already goes to the school. And there's a lot of, because of the way that I was raised, when you first open the book, there is a lot of really derogatory terms, and not just like as in swearing, I mean like spelled out in full capital letters, I bet, when you read it. Mostly because it was okay for them back then, apparently, or they just thought it was okay because they thought they were better than them in some ways. But the LGBT element comes in when Sarah realizes she is in love with Linda, and it's a really sweet story. I read it last spring going on summer. It was one of the ones I read in lockdown, obviously. I read it on my other Kindle, but I couldn't find that one, and I wanted to give you guys a proper picture instead of just showing you a black and white image, because that Kindle is a bit trash now compared to my new one I've got. So yeah, I read this last spring, early summer. And it was such a good story. It didn't try to sensationalize. A lot of stories that cover those kinds of subjects, I've found while reading them, have something that is called, and I've looked up the trope and I know about the trope and things because literature can be very, something called a white savior. Now, don't no. That might be a bit of a hot button issue, but it's basically the concept where someone of colour's life is made more bearable, or something is resolved thanks to something that a white person does. It's, if you don't know it's there, you won't notice the trope, but if you do know it's there, you will see it throughout, like, sometimes in actual historical events, which is absolutely fine, but also sometimes in stories where they're trying to, where they think that they're being respectful and that they're being inclusive, but really it's a white saviour story. You'll know what I'm talking about if you've noticed that kind of thing. But anyway, back to Lies We Tell Ourselves. It was a really good story. Yeah, I did wince a few times when I saw that letter, that word, because of the kind of person I am, because I don't use that word. It kind of scared me, the amount of times that they were using it, and the horrible things that they did to the black kids. Like, oh my gosh, it was like some kind of hate parade. Just to think that that didn't even happen all that long ago as well. The 1950s isn't so alien to right now. And to think that people who are alive today could have seen those things. It is a little bit harder to understand when you're English, when you're British, because as a white British girl, it's one of the things you don't learn about explicitly in school. When you do your history, you do your Tudors, you do your Victorians, Vikings, Romans, Greeks, World War One, World War Two, all of the European stuff, all of the European things, and, well, I'll say it, it's very white, the history that you learn. I did learn about the Egyptians and the Mayans, but that was like right at the end, and it wasn't a massive topic that we did. A lot of the history we learn in England, in the UK, is very, very white, and it is always the stuff that we are the most proud of. Like, almost any kid you ask will be able to reel off the names of Henry's 6 wives, or be able to tell you what years the First World War and the Second World War started, or who started the First World War, because they had to write a bloody essay about it. But I didn't learn about segregation happening in America until I was doing the show Hairspray. That was it. I was in year 8 and I was doing the show Hairspray, and they were talking about what the plot of the story was, and I was like, wait, so over in America, they were completely separate from the other people. They didn't talk to them, they didn't interact with them, some of them were considered below them, they didn't use the same toilets, they didn't go to the same schools, and they went, yeah, that was what segregation was. And I was like, why did we never learn about this? One of the reasons is it didn't really happen here. There wasn't toilets for black people, schools for black people, and things. It just, for us, it was more of a rich poor. There was still things where there was still racism. Like, there was racism, and there still is racism in this country. We cannot deny that. I mean, there are certain organisations in this country that do not agree with who we let into our country and things, and immigrants and all of that stuff, but I don't want to start a conversation about that. The fact is, I didn't learn about that until I was 12 or 13, and all of a sudden I found out about this entire pocket of history that had been not even touched upon, none of it. And I had to go and do all of this research for myself to figure out what the hell was going on. And then Doctor Who does an entire episode talking about it, and everything, so I get to see some of those things, and then I watch films, and then I watch Hairspray, and then I'm in Hairspray. I did Hairspray twice. Both times I was playing a black person, but one, it was amateur theatre, and two, I live in a very... the place where I am is very white. You don't see loads and loads of people of colour in the place where I am because of the town I'm in. It didn't occur to me that that people had a problem with people who had skin of a different colour to them. It just didn't occur to me as a kid or as a teenager, and then suddenly I found out about it and I was like, what the hell? Old people were so mean. And they really were. There were some horrible words that people used. There was slavery and all these things. I didn't learn about those things until I looked into them for myself and had to do the research for myself, pretty much. But anyway, I'm getting so off topic here. But yeah, that was what the book covered, and there were some issues that were covered, like if a white boy got into a fight with a black boy, or if a black boy got into a fight with a white boy. It was very detailed. It didn't just... the good thing about it was it didn't just focus on the romance. It talked about the hard things. It didn't just talk about how they were in love and they were lesbians and all of that. They talked about the other things, not just the fact that they'd be oppressed if they were lesbians, but they'd be oppressed because they were an interracial... they were two people of different colour who wanted to be together, and it just... honestly, it just felt so strange to me. It really did. It felt so alien, and I felt very educated when I came out of the book. I've read other books to do with Black history. Those will be covered during our Black History Month this year, because I did read a few other books to do with it back when it was a very hot button issue last year. But yeah, it was a very intellectual story. It didn't just focus on the gay parts, but it also didn't just focus on the black-white thing. And it also covered some very normal issues that people would have with high schools and things. One of the main issues that comes up in the story, and this whole video is just going to be like a whole spoiler warning and things. So the Linda character, at some point she gets a boyfriend, and he gives her like his membership ring or whatever for I can't remember what sport he played, football, basketball, baseball, something sporty, I don't know. And she's like, yeah, I can get married, I can have kids, and I can forget that I ever had a crush on this girl ever. Yeah. That is something that some people do consider in that situation. And there's also just the issue of them feeling like they have to fit in as well. It comes up quite a few times, and Linda gets educated on things when she starts talking to Sarah like an actual normal human being, like you should. They both go through the struggles of trying to feel normal in society. So Sarah starts dressing more feminine, like curling her hair, wearing a bit more makeup, wearing a bit more of a dress and things. And it was just... it was a ride. It was a quite it was sometimes a bumpy ride, but it was a very good story, very entertaining. There was a part where in the story one of the characters somehow gets in trouble for having a fight, and the poor black kid ends up going to prison. And at one point it gets so bad that black neighbourhoods outside of their houses, there were burning crosses. And that was just... for me, that was just like, my heart stopped in my chest when I saw that. I was just like, oh my gosh. Because at that point I'd already seen the film Black Klansman, which if you've seen that film you'll know exactly what that kind of thing talks about. And as soon as I read that in the book, I was just like, no, not this place, please, no, please, God, no. But it happened, yeah. And they had to get together as a community, and eventually Linda realizes, hang on a minute, that's not right. She's a human being. Why should you be so weird about it and things? And they pull some horrible pranks and things. Like at one point, one of the boys pours this milk over Sarah's head and says, "Hey, look, she almost looks like a white girl." And it's just, it was a hard book at times, but it also managed to keep me sucked in because I wanted to know what would happen next. I wanted to know if she would retaliate. I wanted to know if they were going to keep going with this thing. I wanted to know what would happen if they tried to run away. I wanted to know. I was invested. It's a story that I found myself extremely invested in, and I rate it very highly, definitely. If you want to learn about Black history, if you want to learn about the history of being LGBT in those times, I really do recommend it. The author really knew what she was talking about, Robin Talley. She's written some other books and things that I've read just because I found her writing so intriguing and things. And yeah, it was a really good book. Highly, highly recommend it. Especially if you're into those ones that are more about the 50s. It's very, very 50s. Like the skirts and the blouses and having all the neckties and going to all the fun dances and the polka dots and the hair up here. It was very good. It was really good. So thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, hitting the notification bell so that you can find out when I next upload a video, because I'm still trying to get on a schedule, okay? I was supposed to film this yesterday, but it was pancake day yesterday, and your girl's gotta eat her pancakes, especially when she's being given 3 pancakes at once. Like, come on, how can you pass that up? How can you pass up pancakes with chocolate spread and raspberries and blueberries and, oh, I want pancakes again. No, I've got dinner tonight. It's because we had pancakes 2 nights in a row, and it just put me on this high, just like. Anyway, I will see you next time, guys, and I have something very special planned for next month, because any of you avid bookworms will know exactly what is coming the first week? Yeah, the first week, and there will be an entire week where I am not working because I've taken it off for Mother's Day week. I know that it's not officially a whole week, but I've made it a whole week because I want to treat my mum. Yeah, like an adult would, by making her dinner and running her a bath and doing nice things for her. Yeah. Anyway, I will see you next time, guys.